This is our pro group, but we don't just train pro athletes. We have athletes ranging from 7 to 84 years old. And a common question we get a lot is, how do you design a strength and mobility program for your athletes? So today, let's go over how to design a strength and mobility program for aquatic athletes. Step 1. The assessment. All of our training programs begin with an assessment of the athlete. Assessments are like diagnostic checks for car mechanics. They help identify areas that need improvement, areas that don't, and the types of training that will benefit the athlete the most. There are 3 things we look for in the assessment: mobility, movement, and performance. Step 2. Mobility assessment. Here's a list we found useful in identifying potential mobility restrictions that may limit performance or increase injury risk. We don't use all of them for every athlete, rather we pick and choose the ones that we feel are necessary. Mobility is an important piece of the puzzle. It can tell us what piece of the puzzle is missing to complete the athlete. For example, failing shoulder flexion can lead to suboptimal streamline positions, disruptions in body line, limit distance per stroke, and increase injury risk. Good T-spine mobility allows swimmers to freely get their arms out of the water during the recovery phase. Research by Anderson et al. Has shown that sprint swimming requires more T-spine mobility than distance swimming because of the reduction in hip rotation during sprinting. These are just a few examples, but it gives an idea of an athlete's limitations. Step 3. The movement assessment. This gives us a general understanding of how the athlete moves and how strong their body control is. We look for things like, how do their scaps move during a row? What does their neck and torso position look like during a push-up? And the hip hinge. These questions give us insight on how the athlete moves, if there are any red flags, and how we should initially approach the athlete's training. Step 4. The performance. This is the fun one. Performance assessments or KPIs give insight into how strong and powerful an athlete is. It tells us how we should allocate our training time and what qualities to develop first. For swimmers, we use the following KPIs. The vertical jumps give us an idea into general lower body power and how hard an athlete could push off a wall. The broad jump gives us an idea of their athleticism and how far an athlete could potentially dive off the blocks. The 1 rep max weighted pull-up gives us an insight into an athlete's upper body pulling strength. We take the 1 rep max, add the athlete's body weight, and divide it all by their body weight. This gives us a relative score. The isometric mid-thigh pull tells us how much force an athlete can produce in a jump-like pulling position. It can also be used to calculate dynamic strength index. Step 5. The training program. Now that we understand the athlete, we can begin designing their program. We use something called the bucket system to design our training programs. This concept is not new in the performance training world, but the name helps illustrate the point. All humans present with an endless number of buckets. A lower body strength bucket, a lower body power bucket, an upper body strength bucket, an upper body power bucket, mobility bucket, psychology bucket, you get the idea. The assessment helps us identify how full each bucket is. Our job as performance coaches is to fill the buckets with the least amount of water and have the greatest impact on performance first. For example, if a swimmer can't do a bodyweight pull-up but can jump high, we would consider their upper body strength bucket to be less full than their lower body power bucket. Now you generally understand how we program for our aquatic athletes. There's a lot more that goes into it that we didn't go into detail, and it's not an easy task. But some useful tips to building a program are to understand that every exercise has a different level of potency and that every exercise has a different stimulus to fatigue ratio. There are no bad exercises, only incorrect applications. And be observant. Pay attention to your athletes' movements, moods, and personalities. It can give you insight on how to program for them. As you learn to program and help athletes, you'll learn a lot about who you're working with, but you also learn a lot about yourself too.
You're not in the
Kenta said, oh.
I fucking told you.